Dreamy Dreamland. Here I am, your Sensie Owl Bob. This guy right here, he's to tell you a story. He's your Griot. Griot is a person who tells stories. Now, don't believe a word I say. Let the story hypnogogic state where you can see truth. Not mine, not yours, not Fox News or MSNBC or any of the above. No, don't believe the propaganda. So here we are. Beginning of December, snow is hitting the south like it never has before. Everyone's going on about, oh, global warming. No, a good friend of mine, Art Bell, another guy named Whitley Strieber, wrote a book, The Day After Tomorrow. And then it was made into a movie. It was either the late 90s or the early O's. But go watch that movie. So you see things warming up, and then all of a sudden, it gets real cold. And that's because most of the heat that's generated into the United States, Central America, and Europe comes from this thing off of Iceland, where there's these little vortexes in the ocean kind of suck all the heat up from Africa, from the deserts, and brings it across the Pacific into South America, and then up across the Gulf of Mexico and across our eastern seaboard. And that's what warms. It kind of keeps the cold up there in the North Pole. But if those little vortexes slow down, which they are because all of the ice that's above them, all these gigantic ice sheets are like, basically melting and they cracking off, going into the ocean up there. And these icebergs are like the size of New Jersey. And they're going into the warm water and melting, and thus making that seawater less salty. And that salty seawater is what causes those vortexes. And so the water gets less salty, the vortexes become slower and slower, and then just stop. And when that happens, what is up in the North Pole will be in Chicago. What was up there in cold Canada is now in Florida. Good luck with that. Our whole economy is based on our rivers. The Mississippi, the Ohio, the Kentucky, all feed into the Mississippi that goes down into the Gulf of Mexico. 3/4 of all our oil refineries, and then we send it off to Europe as a finished product, is on the Gulf of Mexico. That's why we're in Venezuela, not to steal their oil per se, but because right now the Russians have snuck, missiles into Venezuela that can hit the United States. That's why Downey, basically said Gulf America, right? We're going big time into managed destiny. And like Donnie, he's a game show host. He doesn't know squat. That's why he's taco. That's why he keeps bouncing all over the place. What does he manufacture the most? He manufactures what's going to happen. Indecision, scariness. I mean, that is the killer of finance. When you don't know what's going to go on, that's it, right? So here we are, days away from Christianity's most happy days, which is Christmas. And of course, Jesus wasn't born then, because who in their right mind would make their population go through the winter to come to a place to just sign a piece of paper? No. Who knows when Jesus was born? I don't know anything. Don't believe a word I say. But what I do, and I can feel, is that the only thing that is real is God's love. And if you're not hooked up to that, you're lost. Right? If you think you know what's going on, you're making your life happen. It's all about you. You. No. It's about the we in me. Right? And the we is that relationship, that covenant with God, right? God's unconditional love. And Jesus' unconditional forgiveness, right? That's the we. And we is all of us children many, right? So, and if you believe any of that, I got a bridge. So anyway, that Christmas trees, look how pretty that is, right? So put that kind of love in your heart. What we are now experiencing is Advent, the days before Christmas. And each of these days, the gift you can give to baby Jesus, is not a pair of shoes, but your patience, your love to your fellow man. That's what God loves the most. Well, what do we have? War in Gaza for real estate, What do we have in Ukraine? War for control. What do we have in, Venezuela? Again, it's all about war and money. There is no good from war. War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. So, and even the commerce that it creates, even though Lockheed and Boeing and General Dynamic and et cetera, their bottom line looks pretty good. It's not sustainable, right? So, what are you going to do about it? Well, I would say start praying, So, Father, hear our prayer. With the power of Jesus Christ, I call out all the demons in world politics to be gone. Because that's who, all of this is being a demonic possession, right? And the devil was made by God. He's not a separate entity. No, he doesn't do anything. He just tempts us. And we're just like Donald Duck. We've got an angel on one side of our shoulder and a devil on the other. If we choose to be our better angel, that's when things will change. You don't have to do anything other than that. If everyone did that, be your better angel, bingo, bango, no problem. And everything Donnie says, I love it. Tell me like that. He's destroying an empire. It took about 250 years to make, really long as, Christopher Columbus, like 600 years to make this empire. He's destroying it in less than 10 months. I love this guy, and by Easter, all of you kids who wear those red MAGA hats, you're the first to feel it. No more health care. If you're a farmer, you don't, the bank has already taken your farm away, right? All you folks who buy in a supermarket, there won't be any food there. Good luck, All those terrible, people, immigrants, well, they're the people who do all the work. There's 20 Tyson meat factories along the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. They're closed down, not because of outbreak of listeria or anything. No, because all the Hispanics have left. They've gone and hid. Good luck with that. You can't have any kind of sense of empathy for the other. You're soon to be that other. Okay, good luck with that. All you Christians, just, keep putting on that nice JCPenney suit and those squeaky shoes. And if you think that's something that really matters to God, good luck with that. And the money that you put on the plate doesn't go to the other. It goes to make that church building bigger and fancier and more gold on the edges, Good luck with that. Good luck. And as my father used to say, goodbye and good luck.